Hello, this is Shatojon, and this is going to be a very unofficial, quick and dirty tutorial on how to use the wooden blocks as per the request of Thoris1 on Reddit. This isn't an official tutorial, but hopefully it'll tide you guys over until we make an official tips and tricks video. So there's different wooden blocks in Castle Story. You have the log, the beam, the wood column, the brace, the plank, the ramp junction, and you also have the plug bricks, which you can attach certain wooden blocks to. So I'm going to start with the log and the wood column. Those two blocks are essentially the same thing. They just have different aesthetics, but they serve the exact same purpose and they work essentially the same way. And that is that you can attach beams to them. Now beams are useful because you can put planks, ramps, and ramp junctions on them, as you can see. I can put a ramp junction, I can put a ramp, and I can put a plank on the beams. If you have two beams that are parallel to each other, like so, you can link planks between them, which is a useful way to make ramparts or roofs maybe, or even floors. Plug bricks are essentially like wooden logs and wood columns, and that they can hold beams. The different plug bricks have different amounts of holes to them for aesthetic purposes. So the thing about beams is that you can only stretch them on for 2 voxels wide. If you try to put 3, it doesn't work because the beam, the wood column can only support a beam that long. However, there is a way to extend them, and that is to use the brace. If you place a brace under a beam, it will double the length of that beam. Well, the possible length of that beam. So as you can see, I just placed 4 beams with a single brace. So that's a useful way for making longer planks like this. Also, it's conveniently enough, if you try to stretch a beam too long, it'll automatically place a brace, as you can see. So that's nice. Now the ramp is a little tricky to use, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty simple. I'm going to use wooden columns for this. The ramp, of course, allows bricktons to go up and down certain areas, but it can also be used decoratively. But I'll let you figure out how to do that. I'll let you explore. So I'm going to try to make a ramp that leads to nowhere. I'm going to place some wooden columns here, and then some braces. And then the top of my ramp is going to be a wood junction. Now the wood junction, technically it acts exactly as a ramp. There's no technical differences. So the difference between ramp junctions and ramps is purely aesthetic. Basically the ramp, if you right click with it, you'll notice that it has this curvature that just makes it look a little better. So I'm going to place that curvature on top as the first one. Also, if you right click, you'll notice that as you keep right clicking, you can get different shapes of ramp junction. You can have them going upwards or outwards, basically. I'm going to choose that one, and then I'm going to go ahead, and I'm actually going to get out of debug mode to show you this, instant build mode I mean. I'm going to place the blueprint for the ramp, like so. I'm going to drag it from the top to the bottom, and of course it'll be red because it can only, this beam here is only supporting those 2 ramps, well, the ramp junction and the ramp. So I'm going to need more beams, and at this point I would say experiment, try it out, try just placing some vertical logs or wood columns, and then placing beams beneath them to try and see what the right spot is. So I'm going to try putting one here, and it works. That was the right elevation, so that tells me that I need to leave 2 voxels empty between each set. If I leave 3 voxels empty, for example, it just won't work out. As you can see, the height of the ramp intersects with where I need to place my beam, so it doesn't work. If I try to place it too close, same thing. It intersects with where I'm trying to place my beam, or the ramp doesn't touch the beam. It's not at the right elevation. So you need to leave 2 voxels between between each vertical pillar. Oops. I just alternated between wood columns and logs just to show you that they do the same thing. It's just an aesthetic change. There we go. So I'm going to keep doing that. 1, 2, 1, 2. If you're having a hard time placing the beam, just remove the ramp and then place it. Sorry, I meant, yeah, the beam. There we go. 1, 2. Place those here. There we go, and you can remove the extra ones here, and that'll work. Be careful though, your brick trons are going to build it from the bottom to the top, and at some point they won't be able to place down the plank. Here, I'll actually try to show you. Okay, so I sped things up a little. I got myself some stockpiles with planks, and my brick trons, they had no problem building the vertical ones up to a certain elevation. As you can see, they only made the wooden logs up to 4 voxels over here, and those, and I'm gonna let them actually build whatever they can out of this, and I'll show you where they stop, and I'll explain why. So basically, as long as they can reach it, they're gonna build it, or rather, as long as they can reach the beam that's behind it, because they need a beam in order to place a ramp or a plank. It works the same way between ramps and planks, by the way. It can hold 2 ramps every beam. There we go, so they could reach this beam in order to place this plank, but at this point they get stuck. And the reason they get stuck is that in order to build this ramp or those ramps, they need this beam here, because this beam is holding those 2 ramps, and this one will hold those 2. But since they can't reach this spot in order to build the beam, then they can't build this ramp either. So you need to figure out a way to get them there, and that's pretty much up to you. You can use stairs, or you can build another ramp up there, but that's likely going to be trickier. I would honestly just build stairs like this, and then once they're done, I would just destroy the bottom one and pick up the top ones, and that'll solve the issue for you. Now, that's how you use pretty much all the wooden stuff. I'm going to show you an actual concrete example on a use case, basically. If you want to build a wooden flat roof, for example, I'm going to make this really small. So this is where plug bricks can be really useful for making floors or ceilings. You could do the same thing for, I'm going to do a ceiling right now, but you could do the same thing for a floor. You're going to place some plug bricks facing each other like this, and then I'm going to use beams, link them together, and then use planks perpendicular to the beams, and then I can fill the gaps with some bricks like this. And there we go. I have a pretty neat, small ceiling. You're going to struggle if you do something bigger. If you try to do something like this, and you want to have a ceiling, it's going to be a little trickier, because remember that you can only have 2 beams, and even with braces, in that case, even with braces, it won't be that long, the reach of your beam. But if I try it this way, it actually might work. No, I can't make it. I can't make it that long. So I need a brace, right? So to get a brace, I'm gonna either put a brace below it, but in this case I'm just going to put one above it. And put the braces on the bottom ones like this. Even that might be too far. Nope, that's a good distance. So if I do that, it's not going to work because the plank can't reach that far. There's a limit to how far planks can reach. In that case, whoops. In that case, the solution is pretty simple. Just place another set of beam in the middle between them, like so. Oops, forgot my brace over here. There we go, and that should work. Yep. And then just fill in the gaps with some bricks. There we go. Last trick I'm going to teach you is how to make somewhat cool looking basic curved roofs with ramps. So basically the idea here is to have beams at different elevations. So I'm going to do this. And then remember how with the, where is it? With the ramp over here, it was 2 voxels empty between each support. It's going to be the same thing here. I'm going to leave 1, 2 empty. Well, 1, 2 empty, and then I'm going to elevate it over here. Actually, you know what? I don't need the bottom one. Hold on. I'm going to make this look legitimate. There we go. This might not be the right elevation, but we'll find out. And then at this point, one of the ramp junctions is actually, it goes down on both sides, so I'm just going to keep right-clicking until I find it. There it is. See, it actually goes down on both sides. I think that might not be high enough, but I'm going to give it a try. Oh no, it works. It's perfect. There we go. So I'm going to put that same one all across. And then drag some ramps down like so. And I mean, how you decide to decorate the rest is, you know, it's up to you. I'm not a very good builder, so I'm not going to delve too much into that. That doesn't look great, but it gives you an idea. Oh, wait, one last thing I want to show you. It's something I learned pretty recently, actually. Let's say you had a wall like this, or this is one of the corners of my castle. I'm going to actually place a door and everything. So I have a castle wall, and this is the corner of my castle wall. I'm even going to put some merlons. I like to leave my merlons, I like to leave some space between my merlons to let my archers shoot. Anyways, you want to add some easy ramparts for your archers to go up there. Let's say I have an archer. Obviously, one thing I could do is put some stairs, and my archer will be able to get up there. But he won't be able to go over here, because there's no way to get there. He can't climb on the merlon. So, a nice way to have pretty cool looking wooden ramparts is to place either wooden columns or wooden logs. It's up to you. In the corners like this. And then put some here. Put some here. Just make sure that your beams can stretch to each other. So let me go ahead and place. There we go. The brace. I misclicked. There we go. Okay, so basically I just have a wooden beam system on the outside corner, or sorry, on the inside corner of your wall. I then use planks to just stretch 2 with perpendicular to the beams. What did I do over here? That's weird. I'm not sure what happened over there. Anyways, there we go. And then here. And you get the idea. now you've got a pretty cool ramper. You can even place a ramp over here if you want to. The way we just learned how to do that. Yeah, instant build gets a little funky with planks. I'm gonna go ahead and put a ramp junction over here. Oops, that's the wrong one. There we go. I'm gonna do that. And then I actually remember it 1, 2 empty. And then 1, 2 empty. 1, 2. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the beams. You can do that, but in my opinion it takes a little too much place. But that's for you to judge. There we go. So that's a nice way to have your archers be able to get anywhere on your wall. You can also use stairs if you'd rather do that. We have the new spiral stairs now, which are pretty cool. There we go. So I hope that was helpful. I know it was kind of a rough tutorial. I was completely improvising, no preparation, so sorry if I stuttered a little bit and struggled for thought. But we'll have a cleaner official tutorial soon for all those small tips and tricks on the official Surfbot Studio YouTube channel. Thank you.